Welcome to MOSH on what's really exciting night for us. We are thrilled to open the nationally acclaimed exhibit, Race, Are We So Different? My name's John Surface. I'm the board chair of MOSH, and I'm thrilled to be here tonight as well. And we thank you all for being with us tonight as we celebrate both the opening of this provocative new exhibit, but also thank many of you who are so involved in bringing it to Jacksonville. I'd first like to take a brief moment and recognize Councilman Warren Jones, who I think is here this evening. He's also a board member of MOSH. Thank you for your support, Councilman Jones. We have some trustees of MOSH who are also here. Please just stand quickly, and so you can see the level of support that we have from the board. And then if MOSH staff would just stand quickly. We won't make this the Oscars, but we do want to recognize people who work very hard. Many of you may know MOSH best for our family programming. We have obviously built our reputation on providing a great place for people to be. We have a terrific science center, the JEA Science Center, which we are progressing with renovations on to expand into a new forward-thinking energy exhibit. We have our summer educational camps. We have our dinosaurs. We have this beautiful, recently renovated Brian Gooding Planetarium, which has a truly state-of-the-art digital projector system that is unique to this region and has been a real attraction. And so all of those things have been kind of hallmarks of MOSH's purpose and vision. But we've also recently tried to take great measures and initiatives to expand our programming and offerings to appeal to adult audiences. Many of you may have heard of our MOSH After Dark programs, and these are really very educational but also very entertaining programs that we conduct, and they've been very well attended. They've included things like a sensory science workshop with Bacardi, a beer making workshop with Intuition Ale, and then we needed to move off the alcohol theme, and we did a presentation by Dr. Wayne Wood on on Jacksonville's architectural history and architecture. We had a renowned paleontologist, Dr. Larry Albright, who came and gave a presentation. So those have been well attended, and that's been very purposeful to our objectives here. And that is to really inspire the joy of learning for all ages for the sciences and regional history. And this exhibit, I think, is a hallmark of all of those characteristics and of our mission. And so we're real enthusiastic and excited for the level of support that we've received in the community for this. Through this mission and through this exhibit, we really think that, and we're hoping that we can create a place and a forum for public dialogue and conversation about issues that are very important to our community. Presenting this exhibit may change the way Jacksonville thinks about MOSH as a museum, but more importantly, and what we're really hoping is that it engages the community in a way to examine how we look at each other, to explore what our perceived differences are, and to identify those traits that we actually share and make us more alike. And the race exhibit, I mean, it's incredible, and it looks terrific, and it's been a great initiative getting it here. And for that, we're real honored to have the Mayo Clinic and the Jacksonville Civic Council as presenting partners to this exhibit. Mayo Clinic and all of our sponsors have been real pioneers in bringing this. It's been a 2-year initiative. They have provided talent, resources, and time to ensure it comes and is extended beyond just the floor outside and becomes a real community initiative, and I think we've accomplished that. and we hope to accomplish it as the exhibit remains here for the next few months. This will be illustrated in the partnership in our program tonight with JCCI as they present the findings in this year's Race Relations Progress Report, which I think will be very interesting. And so on behalf of the Board of Directors, I'd again like to say thank you so much for the commitment and the engagement. You can't overstate how impressive the reach has been on this initiative and how excited we are to have this terrific exhibit here. I'd now like to introduce and turn the program over to our terrific Executive Director, Maria Hayne.
Thank you, John. Well, you all have had some time in the exhibit. I know a lot of you were here this morning even, and this afternoon. We had some time with the Human Rights Commission, Friends of the Study Circles here earlier today. So I know some of you feel like you've been here all day. I know I do. So, I want to share briefly, you saw in the exhibit the incredible use of photography and digital art and video, theater, and some of you hopefully got to experience the interactives where there is the power of the self-reveal that happens in this exhibit. There's an immense amount of information and content, and it's presented beautifully, but I really think that this becomes a very personal experience for everyone that goes through the exhibit, and it is in that we, as you move through it, it is that power of that reveal about the assumptions that we all carry about each other based on characteristics that we currently have been assigning to race. For those of you who have not been completely immersed in this conversation for the last 2 years, I'll tell you briefly, the exhibit is designed by the American Anthropological Association, and it presents the position that race is not a biological concept, that it is a cultural construct and a very fluid one. The exhibit also presents the history of the concept of race in the United States, and through the youth voice, it presents the contemporary experience of racism. About 2 years ago, Bob Brigham, COO of Mayo, and Lane Smith came to my office at 7 o'clock in the morning, which, Bob, what do you say? That's the middle of the day at Mayo. It's not at MOSH, but we were really happy and very curious. They came to and met with Christy Leonard, our curator, and I, and proposed that we work together to bring this exhibit to Jacksonville. In the time since then, we have shared a grand vision that this exhibit would not just live on the second floor of this museum, and that in its context, we would tell our local story here in Jacksonville. So through the guidance and the contribution of more than 20 community leaders, we have worked together to share the power and the potential of this exhibit as a lens for our community with as many program partners as possible, always with Mayo's leadership as a guiding voice and cohort. I'd like to ask Dr. Rupp, CEO of Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, to share a little bit about Mayo's investment in this initiative.
Thank you, Maria. I'm honored and privileged to be here tonight to help introduce this exhibit, Race. Are we really so different? This exhibit was first presented in Rochester, Minnesota in 2010, where we brought through about 37,000 visitors, including 8,000 middle school and high school students. And at that time, Rochester put together a number of musical events, theatrical presentations, speakers, in order to encourage the discussion. We want to do the same thing here in Jacksonville. We believe the race exhibit will serve as a meaningful prompt for us all, certainly for the staff of Mayo Clinic and the greater community, a prompt that will provoke thought, inspire conversation, and challenge our underlying beliefs. We know from the work done by the Jacksonville Community Council and their partners that race relations is an ongoing issue for this community. But as the 2011 Race Relations Progress Report reminds us, positive positive trends demonstrate the important truth about Jacksonville. When residents decide to solve a problem together, conditions improve for everyone. This exhibit is a vehicle that will drive our community, as well as our Mayo employees, to explore race and human variation. We hope the exhibit will give everyone who visits it an opportunity to examine themselves and how they see others. We invite you to join the race discussion and the race exhibit. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rupp. It has been an honor to work with you and the incredible staff at Mayo Clinic. I know I say that a lot, but it has just been a really remarkable partnership. If you don't mind, I'm going to share your goal for your employees at Mayo Clinic. There's 4,200 employees that are at the Mayo campus, and they have set that goal and done in some incredible jumping through hoops to encourage and hopefully get all 4,200 Mayo employees here. So that's a really incredible aspiration, and we certainly appreciate that kind of commitment to this what I call now initiative. I think it's gone beyond being an exhibit. Well, I can't believe today is actually here. This is, it feels like we have been conducting our own mini JCCI study over the past 18 months, working with so many others to complement and support the race relations effort that has long been a priority in our own community. So as you move through the exhibit, you'll see that it examines many of the same issues that JCCI highlights in its annual Race Relations Progress Report. This morning, we held a joint press conference to release the JCCI Race Relations Progress Report in the framework of the exhibit. This speaks to the goal that I shared with you earlier, that we would tell our local story. Through the findings of this year's progress report, we are offering visitors a real-time snapshot of how race influences the state of our city and its progress, as well as our own perceptions about race relations as an issue in Jacksonville. So I'd like to introduce Vilma Consuegra. She is the chair of the JCCI Race Relations Progress Report Review Committee this year, and share the results of this year's work. I had the honor of working with Vilma on this year's review committee, so it was remarkable what JCCI does.
Well, thank you, Maria. I appreciate the opportunity for us to talk to you a little bit about the report today. And 11 years ago, JCCI first examined the issue of race relations in the Northeast Florida region with the 2002 Beyond the Talk Improving Race Relations Inquiry. And the Race Relations Progress Report has become the annual report card which measures the progress on race relations, and it aims to really hold the community accountable for eliminating the race-based disparities that we see. So for the past 9 years, the Jacksonville community has relied on this report to share some valuable information about race relations in our community. And every year, it is reviewed by a committee of citizens that help determine where the progress has been made, and also where there's areas for opportunity. And this year, I was privileged to lead the review committee as they discussed racial and ethnic disparities here in Jacksonville. And before I get into the details of this year's report, I would like to thank this year's champions for their support, and that includes Community First Credit Union, SunTrust, Aetna, Florida Coastal School of Law, and the United Way of Northeast Florida. And the committee also would like to acknowledge the many, many community-based organizations that are working to eliminate race-based disparities here in Jacksonville. And each of the organizations is also noted in the report that you received when you came in. So this year's Race Relation Reports really provides readers with the specifics about racial and ethnic disparities, and perhaps more importantly, whether or not the disparities have improved over the years. So what's an example of something included in the report? One of the racial disparities is the gap reflected in white students graduating from high school on time more frequently than black students. And in 2012, 73% of white students graduated on time, while only 62% of black students did the same. That's a 10 percentage point gap. But when the 2002 Beyond the Talk report was released, the black-white gap was 15 percentage points. So the good news here is that graduation rates for all students are improving, and the gap is narrowing, albeit slowly, but it is narrowing. But education is not the only area where the disparities define our community. Racial and ethnic disparities are also evident across 6 elements, and the study looked at all of these 6 elements of community life. It included education, it included employment and income, neighborhoods and housing, health outcomes, justice in the legal system, and political and civic engagement. So this report can be understood as similar to a double-edged sword. Some of the indicators have trended positively, with disparities decreasing, such as the graduation rate that I just mentioned. But these, and what the committee did is they looked at these indicators and went ahead and rated them a gold star. But on the other hand, we also had and found troubling the growing disparity between white and blacks around unemployment rates. And in 2011, the unemployment rate for whites was 9.7%, and it was 21% for blacks. That same year, Hispanics experienced a 13% unemployment rate. So we went ahead and assigned this indicator a red flag for our community to take notice. There are another 2 areas that were important for this year's review committee. In the area of income, the unemployment indicator grabbed our attention, and in the education area, we noticed the fact that nearly twice as many white residents have earned bachelor's degrees or higher as compared to blacks. 29% of whites hold a higher education degree, while 15% of blacks and 22% of Hispanics hold the same degree. What the committee agreed on is that steady income is a foundation of family stability, and by extension, the entire community's stability. And one of the ways of maintaining a steady income is to hold a higher education degree. So erasing the disparities in unemployment and higher education will be a significant step toward a healthier quality of life in Jacksonville. The trend lines in the 2012 Race Relations Report tell the stories about Jacksonville. There's evidence of action and positive results throughout the report, and another example of that is that for the first time in 27 years, 2 seemingly stuck trend lines have moved quite dramatically, revealing a sort of agreement between the races. An equal percent of black and white survey respondents believe that racism is a problem in Jacksonville. And we believe that many years of bringing people together and building bridges between the races has changed the conversation that we're having about race relations today. As most of you know, solving community problems takes time, it takes expertise, and it takes money, and these days our resources are scarce. However, as evident in some of the trend lines, when we invest in solutions, we can narrow the disparities and make Jacksonville a place where everyone succeeds. Thank you for attending today. Thank you for listening and hearing what our report concluded. I'd also like to give a very special thank you to the review committee who gave up their time throughout the month of November and December to really go over the report and make sure that the findings in the report were clear and meaningful to our community. Those folks that worked on the review committee included Lori Bolello, Jackie Brown, Pedro Cohen, Heather Downs, Mark Fafard, Dane Gray, Maria Hain, Deidre Lane, Jim Love, Myra Martello, Edgar Mathis, Blake Osner, Tom Rogers, Mary Rose, and Dennis Wade. And I can't thank this group enough because without them, we wouldn't be where we are today. So thank you for coming tonight, and thank you to the review committee as well.
Thank you, Vilma. Thank you also to Ben Warner, Dr. Laura Lane, and all of those at JCCI for the longstanding work that you do to understand and improve the quality of life in Jacksonville. So not only are the progress report findings that Vilma just described to you are found in the exhibit, but JCCI is also providing a copy of this report for every visitor group that comes to this exhibit. That is a very generous and a very impactful contribution, so we want to say thank you as well. We want to make sure that you have as much time tonight to explore this exhibit with one another. So we're going to recognize all of our sponsors and partners with you as a group, and then we'll have special recognition gifts to pick up as you leave this evening. So hopefully that will allow us to move through this, but still provide the recognition that everybody so incredibly deserves. There is one exception I want to make to that. So Michelle Leek from Mayo Clinic. Michelle is Administrator of Community Relations for Mayo, and we might as well just set up an office for her here. It's been incredible. So we want to recognize both Mayo. We want to recognize Mayo with this. Marsha Oliver has done our marketing and communications, and so this is our race cards that we have been saturating the community with. It reads, MOSH staff and Board of Trustees recognize and thank the Mayo Clinic Jacksonville team and leadership for their vision and support of this important exhibit and community-wide initiative. It has been a remarkable 2-year journey working together to meet our shared objectives to provide a platform to broaden the community's dialogue about race and engage our community around the issue of race relation and its impact on our lives in the city. So thank you to Mayo Clinic as a whole. Michelle, we also want to recognize you and the work that you've done with us. Through all of this, we've gotten to know Michelle so well that we've gotten her on our board. She now serves as a trustee for MOSH, so we won't let her go that easily. But we just want to thank you for your inspirational leadership and commitment to a successful community-wide initiative around race. Are we so different? So the response, as John mentioned, the response and the support in this community has been magnificent. We want to acknowledge so many funding and programming partners, but like I said, we want to make sure that you have time to see the exhibit. So if you're in agreement with this, I ask that maybe we collectively applaud for all of our sponsors after I've noted them all. So we'll start with the Jacksonville Civic Council. MOSH is grateful for the support and the leadership of the Jacksonville Civic Council as a presenting Race Are We So Different partner. Thank you to the Florida Times Union, Frank Denton, I think you're here tonight, and Jacksonville.com, to Buzz Magazine and the Jacksonville Free Press for a total of $53,000 in donated advertising to help us spread the word about this groundbreaking exhibit in our community. MOSH is grateful for the support of Wells Fargo as a gold level sponsor. John McGivney, I know you're here tonight on behalf of both Wells Fargo and as a trustee. Thank you. We are grateful for the support of the following silver level sponsors: Citi, the Community Foundation, Eartha M.M. White Legacy Fund, Jacksonville FOP Foundation, Jacksonville Jaguars, JTA, Memorial Hospital, Northeast Florida's Healthy Start Coalition, Orange Park Medical Center, and Scott McRae Group. And Alex Graham, thank you as well. As we'd like to recognize and thank our bronze level sponsors, the Jacksonville Firefighters Union Local 122 and the Winston Foundation. And thank you to the First Coast Diversity Council as host for our MOSH members opening this evening. Thank you all for investing in this project. So, but without the, well, but without the collaborative spirit and the vision of our program partners, this exhibit could not have been transformed into what I now call a community project. We really worked with an incredible amount of people and are continuing to work with an incredible amount of program partners so that this exhibit truly does live off of the second floor and in our community. So MOSH is honored to have worked with and is continuing to work with the community program partners to ensure the community-wide engagement and impact. Cultural Fusion, Duval County Health Department, Duval County Public Schools, Edward Waters College, Flagler College, Florida State College at Jacksonville, Human Rights Commission and Friends of Study Circles, JCCI, Jacksonville Public Library, Jacksonville University, the National Park Service, the Nonprofit Center of Northeast Florida, One Jacks, the Ritz Theater and Museum, University of North Florida, and our great friends at WJCT. It's been a great working group. So many of us have, and I will tell you that what was incredible for us is, as we worked through with Community Advisory Board, and we began reaching out into the community, how many groups started reaching out to us saying we want to be engaged in this. I think that is one of the true testaments to how hungry and how excited this community is to have this dialogue, a broader dialogue around race relations. And as you all are supporters of the cultural community, I want you to be sure to explore the theme of inclusion through the rich exhibits and programs that are presented throughout the community by the Cultural Fusion partner organization across Jacksonville. There is, as I said, a very rich variety of program that is built around this theme of inclusion. It's been a really incredible effort for the arts and culture community to take on this issue and this theme that's so important to Jacksonville and express it in different ways and give it a true voice through arts and culture. And thank you to JCCI for 11 years of study on race relations in Jacksonville and ensuring that we are all able to tell Jacksonville's story through the race exhibit. And MOSH would like to recognize the gifts of expertise, wisdom, and guidance provided by the Race Are We So Different Community Advisory Board. And finally, special thanks to Oak Communication and Marsha Oliver for her work with the Community Advisory Board and the marketing for the exhibit. You've done a remarkable job, and it's been so wonderful to work with you, and I know we still have a lot of work to do. So thank you.